Hi guys, today is the 30th of April and that makes it day 41 of our lockdown. It's starting to become the normal thing now. I think I've got used to, I actually thinking the other day about if we actually go back to normal, whatever that is, when they do eventually release any kind of lockdown, I'm not going to know how to function. I don't think. Having to go places and get stuff done elsewhere in a day seems very alien now. I've got quite used to it. I think I might be a bit institutionalised.
Yeah, going back to the pub will be one thing.
All right.
Sorry, yeah. I was going to say how energised I was by doing that panel show.
Yeah, clearly.
Just open on a yawn.
Yeah. To be fair, we did go to bed at gone 5 last night, and not because we were crazy partying it up. We watched a couple of episodes of Afterlife after we filmed the vlog, and it was like about 3 o'clock then.
And
then we just sort of chatted.
Nocturnal is the thing, because with your fibro, I'm
quite inclined to go nocturnal anyway.
And I've always kind of been like a late night person rather than an early morning person. And when you don't have kind of work to be, I know people say, it's important to kind of stick to some sort of routine, but I think why stick to other people's schedules, really?
Yeah, we are in a routine. It's just one that works for us.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think, we actually have adjusted quite well. Today, I think, has been a successful day, because I've been getting, as I've mentioned on here, I've been having a few wobbles, sort of mental health-wise, been a bit anxious and sort of been feeling a bit cooped up. Thankfully, I think that's properly turned a corner, and I've sort of switched into getting proper relaxation, downtime. The colouring books, man, I've got a bit obsessed. But then also I'll sort of have a couple of hours when I get up, in with Poppet, just chilling, doing some colouring books and listening to, watching, but kind of have something that I'm watching on Netflix, but I'm not really watching because I'm looking at my colouring books. And then I sort of came out from that and cleaned the house. Admittedly, the house still needs a lot of cleaning, but just the house looking clean after you've cleaned it is quite satisfying. It's the sort of, that looks better.
And if you think that's satisfying, try coming down to a clean house after Ellie's cleaned it.
Even better.
Oh, it's good.
Well, that's how I normally live, because, oh God, I really am betraying how middle class I have become.
I wasn't really going to bring this up at any point ever.
I'm
not
going
really tell people about this.
Well, I can play the fibro card, because I before Chris moved in, not very extravagantly, but I have a cleaner that comes in literally an hour, maybe an hour and a half, so that's £10 to £15 a week, and then she blast cleans the whole house. I miss her terribly, because I've got out of the habit of doing that. And it was basically, when I'm well, I'm capable of doing that, but you've just got a very finite amount of energy, and you just don't want to spend it doing that, particularly when you've got loads of work stuff to do. So I'm not going to justify it. I'm allowed. I can spend my money how I choose. So it's not like I have a housekeeper or anything like that, but a lady comes in once a week and does a little blast clean in the house. And it's been a long time since she's been.
I would just live in squalor left to my own devices.
I think that's true. I think you would. The thing that's a bit of a worry is I'll say, I'll start getting a bit the place is a mess, and you'll be genuinely oblivious to the fact that it's a mess. And I'm like,
no, I'm not entirely
oblivious. You'll say this I don't really know what needs doing, and I'm like, everything.
I've done bits.
No, you have, but I don't think you naturally just you're not a neat freak. I think you just you wipe a surface or pick up something you've dropped.
I've pushed the Hoover around a couple of times.
Yeah.
I don't think it's picking up very well.
It's probably full. Probably needs emptying.
See, well, we're going to need a new Hoover then, aren't we?
No, you need. I'll show you, Babs. Right. It's not that difficult, but so I am capable of doing all of this. But I've been used to I'll go out, and Kim, who's my cleaner, will come in while I'm in work, and then I come home to a gorgeous, clean, tidy house, and it's lush. But I'm never leaving at the moment, and it's me making all the mess. Partially me. He's doing it too. And actually the cats really contributed quite heartily with the amount of feathers this week. So that was additional mess that was not our fault.
Well, I mean, if you're worried about cleaning up feathers, wait till you have to clean up a dead slow worm, guys. That's not fun for anyone.
Sometimes you can save the slow worms because they do play dead very well, and the trouble is the little cats are a bit too enthusiastic to probably just keep playing with them. I have saved several slow worms, which is quite nice.
Yeah, this one was beyond saving.
Yeah, that's that habit. Our little buggers are just, well, between them, destroying the ecosystem of
They
Malthus.
are like the most adorable creatures in the world and the most vicious killing machines.
They are murderous little bastards.
Really, and it's a shame because one of them, I just gave them slow. If you have cats, you know, like when they like you or when they're friendly, they might give you a little slow blink, and
Yeah, it's a very nice sign of affection. There's just a little.
And you can blink back at them and just let them know, no, it's cool. I'm not just.
Yeah, I think because a very aggressive gesture with cats is to just maintain eye contact. So you shouldn't do that to your cat because that's quite an aggressive thing.
I'm looking at my cat.
But you're like,
he's cute, okay. But he's clocked me looking, so I'll just do a slow blink, let him know I'm not just staring at him. I'm just like, and if they give you a slow blink back, that's normally like reward enough. You're like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a very high compliment from a cat.
Got a slow blink. I did a slow blink at Ford last night, and he just dashed across the room and leapt into my lap for cuddles.
Yeah. Ford is the sweetest cat.
But also a killer.
Yeah, ruthless killer.
It's the shame of it. But.
Yeah, the other day when they came in, when they'd had a rat, and they'd both had the rat, and we took the rat off them, as is our right.
Like it.
They don't like it, but then, like, clearly, like, the bloodlust was still raging in him, so he was just attacking the world then. So you're just like, find a toy, quick, find a toy. And it was just like, the eyes massive, and just going for the kill. You're like,
they've
Jesus.
Got a bit older, and they're not quite as enthusiastic about kind of toys and...
No, because now they can do real killing.
Yeah, but when they were kittens, like anything that moved, they'd be chasing, they were after it, and my headphones took a pounding.
You got through about 7 pairs of headphones in about 2 weeks.
Wasn't ideal. Couldn't even do up my shoes without being under kitten attack, because I got shoelaces. And now they're getting a little bit older and a little bit more chill, and they're just, so they're not as interested in toys or just anything. But just lately, I've noticed there's just a real kind of like intensity of like, I will go for some socks actually though, because I'm feeling quite het up. I haven't killed anything today, so I will attack the laundry.
Yeah, they're like, I'm very well fed, but I haven't killed anything today. What can I kill? They are murderous. Excuse me. That was my foot knocking the cable, sorry.
Yes, that was us moving. You're not drunk. You might be drunk. You could be drunk. Who are we to...
It's gone 10. You're perfectly allowed to be drunk by now. Yeah, that is one thing that is slightly good, is I tend to be having my first drink of the day at around about 10 p.m. now, which is good, because I think when we were first in furlough, I was like, about 7, 8 p.m. That's when you should. But the trouble is, if you do that till 5, you get through a lot of booze that way. But actually, I think we've got quite sensible now. If you start at 10,
but then you're still drinking at 5 a.m., that's
I
still
wasn't
quite
still drinking at 5 a.m. I was still up at 5 a.m.
There have been evenings.
There have been some evenings. But yeah, it's been mostly, it hasn't been too bad.
Social drinking, isn't it? As long as I'm somewhere in the house, it counts, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I can video chat with my friends and get drunk. Anyway, yeah. So
I did a panel show.
Yes, Forza Crowd again this week. So it's Thursday. So every Thursday we can remember it's Forza Crowd Day, and it's also Clap for Carers Day. So Thursdays,
those are the two things.
All go on Thursdays.
In that order of importance.
Yeah.
So Clap for Carers, and then Forza Crowd, and we'll put the link in the thing, and you can watch it if you didn't catch it live. But it's fun to catch it live because you can join in and interact and kind of in the chat.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
That's fun.
I was careful not to sort of hear too much of anything that you're planning for it for this week, so I was watching it sort of as you would be, and I really enjoyed it.
As with any sort of creative thing, it takes a little while to kind of figure out what you're doing with it, but I feel like it's finding its feet now. It's actually... Yeah, I enjoyed doing it, but I think it would be entertaining to watch.
I enjoyed it.
There you go.
Yeah, it was good.
You're vouched for. So check that out. It is nice to have something to be doing every week outside of our just own little kind of existence in the house. To have something you have to be prepared for and ready for.
Something that's regular as well, I think, is good. Because we're very flexible with what you can do and when. So having things that are like, arranging to sort of have a chat with friends or something on a certain day and time is actually quite good and therapeutic. I've got something to do tomorrow that's at a set time, which is a really horrible task.
She has to see some of her friends for a chat, isn't it?
No,
is that not it?
you're going to feel bad for being sarcastic there, because what I am doing tomorrow at 4 is helping my mum draft her and my dad's wills.
They're not dying, though.
They're not. No, they're in
immediately,
perfectly
so
good
it is
health.
fine.
But
if they're just being sensible, that's
well,
okay.
yes, I
don't
know.
feel that bad about it.
But that is because of the current situation. Admittedly, my mum's been nagging my dad to sort their wills for decades.
It's one of those things. They can get it done. You can get it done. They'll have peace of mind.
Yeah, but it's not a fun task. I don't want to know. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have a long, lengthy chat with my parents about who gets what. I don't like one of them.
As Mary Poppins would say, you find the fun and snap. The job's a game. And
I don't think that would count for this particular.
I
feel you're belittling
Write your parents' will. Write your parents' will. Write your parents' will.
I feel like you're being a bit of a dick.
You, but if I could do, I would. In the most delightful. I don't know a lot about. I don't think I'm going to be useful for that task.
I'm not a solicitor.
I'll support you in like another way. I'll cook dinner or something.
Well, you can stop being a dick about the fact that I've got to do a really grim task. Actually,
I'm sorry.
That was mean.
I'm just trying to add levity for the people at home.
Well, we can talk about some funny stuff, but let's not make a joke about me writing my parents' wills.
All right.
So yeah, because I've already had to do it for my gran. So when this all kicked off, my gran hadn't sorted a will out, and there's a thing online that you can do, which basically it's a template for it, and then you just have to it'll write it all out for you, fill in the blanks, and then you just have to get somebody to witness it. So having done that for my gran, I'm now doing that for my parents tomorrow. I don't know how I ended up with that job. I don't want that job, but I will do that job. It needs doing. But it's not fun and not the source of humour. Just making a joke about the death of my parents. That's what you're doing.
That's not what I'm doing. I feel like you're...
Well, if you're going to be a twat about it, so will I.
I like your parents is the thing, and I wouldn't want... I mean, I know your dad's never going to watch this, so I could say what I like, but I wouldn't want your mum to see this and think that I was making light of her
I'm
death,
sure
because
they
I do
don't,
not want
but
her to die.
No, of course not.
I've grown fond of her.
No, but I just mean that's the kind of conversation that a lot of people are having at the moment, and that's the kind of thing that a lot of people are having to think about, that is a grim thing to be thinking about. And yes, everybody should get their affairs in order and all of that. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done, but it's not a fun task. And it's not one that I look forward to. But once it's done, and that'll be good. So on that note, let's talk about something a bit nicer, because that's got me all glum. Today is April 30th, as I said, which makes it Captain Tom Moore's 100th birthday, which is lovely, because we mentioned him previously. He was the chap doing the laps of his garden for the NHS. Not that the NHS is a charity, but it was still a nice gesture and did raise many millions of pounds. I don't know what the final total was, actually, and I dare say there's probably still funds coming in for that. But the thing that they have done is very nice. They've mentioned him in the press briefings and given him a lot of accolades. But today, as a sort of essentially symbolic gesture, they have officially promoted him to Colonel. He is now Colonel Tom Moore rather than Captain Tom Moore, which I think is quite lovely. I think that's very nice and a nice sort of gesture to make to a good man. So that's a bit of nice. Did you know about that?
I knew it was his birthday. They did like a sort of flyover for him. And,
did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did like a flyover and sent some planes.
Some planes or other.
I don't know much of the detail. I'm not really a military man.
No.
I don't know if that's come across, but I...
Bit too inclined to go into sort of improvised Mary Poppins numbers for the military, I imagine.
If that makes me ineligible for the military, then I'll take it. I'm okay with
chimney chim.
Chim chimney chimney chim chim chiroo. Military life's not for me or for you.
It's a good thing that when they're not drafting people, because I don't think that would be... I literally put the coaster there and you've put the thing next to the coaster.
It's not a coaster though, is it? It's like actually like an instruction manual for a video game.
It's the cover of an instruction manual. It's not like a collector's edition or anything.
It could be valuable.
This man is allergic to coasters.
Not allergic to coasters.
Oblivious then. Oh, maybe that 41 days is starting to show. No, it's all good. Just joshing. Yeah, what was I going? So yeah, the Captain Tom thing. That's all lovely and nice, but it does lend itself to the further conversation about should we be having to fundraise for the NHS? Well, no. That's what national insurance is supposed to pay for, and that money that everybody pays in their wages should go to the NHS. It's a bit of a worry that for many decades it's been normalised that the NHS is underfunded. Well, why is it underfunded when we haven't been paying less national insurance? It's just you've been squirreling that money away
We've still
other
been
ways.
paying the tax. They've just gone, we'll prioritise other things.
And tax breaks for massive companies and things like that.
That's fun.
So yeah. Well done, Tom Moore. That's lovely. But the NHS isn't a charity.
The old government.
The old government.
Behind
Oh
that,
my God! Right.
So they are idiots individually. Put them all together and they're extra stupid. That's another Mary Poppins reference I did there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
it's the suffragettes
something I can do all day,
isn't it? Yeah, he really can and really does.
If only there were a value to it.
If only we could monetize your ability to break
so many
into...
things I can do that are of so little worth.
Yeah, nobody's paying you to watch those wrestling documentaries yet, are they? Although technically, sometimes they kind of are.
I wasn't going to bring it up yet, but I did watch another bad... since the last one of these, I watched another bad wrestling documentary. We're dividing the tasks equally, guys. One of us is writing the wills and doing the cleaning. The other one is discovering new YouTube chefs and watching wrestling documentaries. So it's all fair's fair.
I don't want to talk about any more wrestling documentaries, but I am willing to throw you a bone and say, discovering new YouTube chefs.
Well, I feel like...
What's this about?
How am I supposed to drive away viewers if I don't mention the wrestling documentary?
Exactly why I'm going to veto it.
Alright, nipping that in the bud, but, do get in touch.
Do you care? If you care, I will back down.
No, hey, get in touch with me if you want to find out, and I'll tell you all about a terrible wrestling documentary. But in the meantime...
That was me blinking in Morse code, by the way. That's what that was.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
In the meantime,
yeah,
I have discovered a new chef.
I know. That's why I was...
quite exciting because I did a post online I found in the back of the cupboards.
You found a post in the back of the cupboards?
No, I'm sure a lot of people, like me, during this time are sort of going, right, well, we can't go to the shops very much. Now's the time to start using up all the things that you buy and stick in the back of a cupboard. And then you go out and buy new food and don't eat the things that are in the cupboards.
Yeah, particularly tins and packets of dried stuff that does have best before dates on it, but I don't think anybody has ever taken a packet of lentils out of the cupboard that have been there since they moved and checked the best before dates, because lentils don't go off, do they? They're just lentils.
I had some Dolmio mini meatballs in bolognese sauce, and I only bought them. It's not normally the sort of thing I'd buy, right? But I bought them because they were heavily reduced to about like 25p a packet, and so I can only imagine. I didn't even check the dates. I can only imagine they're well past, and that's like meat and stuff. I don't know if that's
I don't think they
good,
can sell meat past its sell by date.
Well, it's all sort of no. They wouldn't have sold it. They would heavily reduced it, and I bought it. But now I've owned those since before I moved in here, so they're probably.
So it's like a packet though. It's not like needs to be refrigerated.
No,
or
it's in a packet, so it's probably fine.
Yeah, it's probably been irradiated.
It's all good.
It's probably not meat anymore.
I mean, basically, lockdown has hit me so hard that I'd forgotten what my Dolmio day is. I'd lost all track of time, but I found these mini meatballs, and I guess it's today. But the thing is, they were not very good.
Oh, that's good that your Dolmio day isn't the same as my Dolmio day.
When's your Dolmio day?
Hopefully never, if you're using out-of-date meat.
I mean, they were very I don't know how frequently Dolmio days occur, I'll be honest. I hope there's not another one for a while, because these were underwhelming. The sauce was like I had to use 2 packets for it to be a human-sized adult portion, and the sauce was very runny to the point I had to leave it simmering for a long time to kind of thicken it up a bit.
Right.
And then I just drenched the whole thing in cheese. But I posted up about that on Facebook, and because I'd been using this Dolmio thing, and I mentioned that in the post, a friend of mine posted a YouTube link to a guy I think he's Australian, although I'm
yeah.
sure.
No, he is Australian. He mentions Adelaide in
That's
his thing.
fine. It's one of those things you think, I'll say he's Australian, and people look, no, he's from New Zealand, you dick. Oh, I'm sorry. But anyway, so he was basically doing a quarantine sauce.
Yeah.
And he was saying, don't use a jar sauce with all the sugar. And actually, I wouldn't normally use a jar sauce. I normally do make things from scratch.
I'm quite surprised that you did.
I think because it was so cheap.
Yeah.
But the fact that
Because people have been panic buying those sorts of things, and I think that he was angry that people, like, he was like, of all the things to panic buy, fuck off. Like, you don't need to panic buy this.
But
you can make it.
To be clear, I didn't panic buy that Dolmio stuff. I've owned those for about a year. That wasn't panic. It was just so cheap. I thought I've got to buy these, but then they were so underwhelming that I bought about 5 of them, and I still had 2 left like a year later. So anyway, so this guy...
So you have to go a few years between eating them to forget how underwhelming they are.
He's got like a YouTube channel called That's What I Reckon.
That being Nat.
How do you feel about that as a pun?
I'm alright with it.
I came up with a pun in a dream the other night, and I tried to tell it to Ellie when she had just woken up, and she was underwhelmed. So we won't share that here.
Yeah, we won't share the thing. But the thing that I got out of bed and I was in with Poppet and I was feeding her breakfast and I was still basically asleep.
Oh.
And then you came in with a sense of urgency to tell me this pun that you'd come up with in a dream, but you didn't preface it with anything. You were just, it was just, you know, when people tell you about dreams they'd had, and you sort of think, does this story have a point?
But you know, when you have a dream, and like, you know, like 15 minutes from now, I'll try and remember that, and it will just be gone.
Yeah, they kind of just, you can feel them leaving your head.
Dreamt a pun here that I think is quite good. I need to tell someone so that I can remember it in case there's ever a use for it.
Let's check who watches this. If you watch this, you have to ask us what the pun is. And if enough people ask, I will make him tell you what his pun was.
It needs a lot of context.
It does. And he didn't give me any of the context, which is why I was a bit baffled.
Anyway, so That's What I Reckon is this Australian guy. And he's just got a kind of like, doesn't give a fuck sort of...
Quite angry,
nihilistic kind of attitude, but also just no nonsense cookery advice. Like kind of
it's good. It's really, good cooking.
It's quite funny, but it's like it's really like I really like the philosophy of like don't buy a jar of sauce. You can make a sauce yourself really easily.
Yeah,
and
it was super easy, and he did make it. But I would watch him. I think probably more for his personality than his cooking. He's very watchable.
And there's just like, you know, I'm not going to show you how to chop an onion. Chop your onion how you fucking like. It's fine. Just chop your fucking onion. Get the thing that way. It says if the recipe says use 2 garlic, use 5 garlic. Garlic's great.
Absolutely correct.
Which is absolutely right. Garlic's... Always
use more than the recipe says because garlic is amazing.
Absolutely right. So
unless you're a vampire.
Yeah. Although if you're a vampire and you don't already know that, I mean, have you got this far in life?
Well, in afterlife, I guess. But yeah, that was not my best work.
We'll have comments. Very disappointed in the vampire stuff.
Will we have comments?
No.
We only get comments from bots.
Do comment.
Yeah, please.
Comment.
Who's what? Who are you?
Yeah,
what do you get from this?
Say nothing.
Yeah.
Silently lurking, you weirdos.
And then occasionally, just weeks later, in a conversation I'll sort of be having with someone, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, I saw you mention that." And I'm like, "You watch it? What? Like, I need to know."
Tell us you're watching, and then we won't have to have conversations.
Yeah, then we won't have to talk to you.
Government has done some stuff again.
Yeah, that's actually when you mentioned the government earlier, I did a little bit of a...
Did that slick segue into that?
Beautiful, seamless that was.
Thank you.
But yeah, earlier you mentioned just the word government.
Yeah.
And I did a thing. Because I knew which story you were about to go.
The government.
No,
it wasn't that.
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, okay.
But it's going back to any avid viewers, of which who are you? Any avid viewers would know that I have a special
place in your heart,
a special type of hatred
for
Priti Patel. Mainly because I think she's a bully and a psychopath. But also, just she irks me in general. I hate that sort of sneery, down-looking on everybody attitude she seems to have. But there's a great story I read yesterday in The Guardian which was an interesting story anyway, and I clicked into it for the headline. I didn't go straight to it because I wanted to hate on Priti Patel. I try to avoid stories about her because I get very angry. But it was, the article was about new measures that they are contemplating taking in the battle against coronavirus. So it was things that are being discussed. So one of the things, for example, which was being discussed, which was what they put in the headline, was quarantine and thermal imaging checks for people coming into the country at borders proposed. That's not actually a sort of firm plan. That's something that they're contemplating that they might have to do going forward. It's one of the ideas being spitballed by the Home Affairs Committee. Priti Patel is Home Secretary, so you'd think she's fairly important to the Home Affairs Committee. Priti Patel was made Home Secretary in July last year. It's very nearly May. It's the 30th of April now, and she was appointed Home Secretary in July last year.
And just to clarify, by the way, it's not that we particularly think that she's important to the Home Affairs Committee. We kind of reckon she's, if anything, probably a hindrance because she's awful. But you'd think that she would have a sense of professional responsibility.
Like, I have to be here. This is essentially
I
my
should
committee.
At least show face.
Yeah.
This is notionally what I'm responsible for.
Well, I'd already been aggressively angry about Priti Patel before coronavirus kicked off, because she went to her first meeting of the Home Affairs Committee in October, having been appointed Home Secretary in July. Then a global pandemic kicked off. Don't know if you've heard about this. But yeah, some stuff was kicking off globally that very much meant that the Home Affairs Committee needed to have a few quite important chats. So Yvette something, I want to say Cooper, but I think that's wrong. Anyway, a lady who works on the Home Affairs Committee essentially has repeatedly requested a meeting, has requested that the committee convene. A convenience is what I was trying to say, but that's not a word. But anyway, she has been trying to get the Home Affairs Committee to meet to discuss what they need to be doing.
Listen, Priti, she says, I just want a meeting. I don't care if convenience isn't a word. I'm just trying to get us all in a room so we can hammer some of this stuff out. Stop trying to get me on kind of on
semantics.
Verbiage. Yeah, it's not relevant, Priti. We just want to kind of talk. That's what she said.
Interestingly, she sort of has had to keep nagging Priti Patel. She has put in emails and had to write letters. She has officially requested these meetings. Since coronavirus has happened, she's formally requested her attendance 6 times. And each time sort of going, we need this to happen, this is an emergency, to which Priti Patel largely ignored. The last time she was requested, she said, basically they'd said, we need to meet, I propose the 11th of April. And Priti Patel responded, I hope to meet with you by the end of the month. Not saying a date, not saying I can't do the 11th, let's do the 12th, just... and also she criticised Yvette, whatever her surname is, for the increasingly adversarial tone to her communications. Mate, you're the Home Secretary. You should be the one saying we need to have meetings with the Home Affairs Committee. Also, there's a global fucking pandemic on. What the fuck are you doing that is more important than your job?
As an MP, you make 79 grand a year just for being an MP. I imagine Home Secretary is a decent bump on top of that, right? You should just do your fucking job.
What the fuck is she doing that is more important?
Also...
And how does she have the gall to just walk around with her head held high as if it doesn't matter? Like,
also,
we're all aware that this is happening, and she's just like, yep, fuck you.
I can't imagine many people are lining up to spend time with Priti Patel. You'd think she'd be flattered at the attention, wouldn't you?
I think she's another one. If she wanted a nice, high-power, high-profile job title, but didn't want to do the fucking job. Fuck the fuck off, then. Like, I have no time or patience for this. I obviously wouldn't be a big fan of you at the best of times because you're a high-level Tory MP. They're not my favourite group of people. But they should be, right now, working all hours God sends to look after the country they are actually in charge of. This is your actual job.
I heard
to just shirk meetings
'Cause you know
repeatedly and be arsey about it.
You know how a lot of
How
government...
has she still got her job?
You know how a lot of government policy is kind of shaped by Dominic Cummings, who's an advisor to Boris Johnson, but in no way elected.
No.
But just
He's the one that went to all
a
of the
weird
Cobra
amount of
meetings
power.
in Boris Johnson's place, by the way.
It's just got a weird amount of power for a guy that has not really got any kind of public role, and we don't really get a chance to kind of interview or challenge him on stuff. But,
yeah, so the MPs may get elected, but the people working for them just stay in their job doing it for ages.
The rumour has it that he really likes Priti Patel because she's just kind of compliant and does what she's told.
Really?
Well, not compliant in terms of helping anyone else with the country.
She does what Dominic Cummings tells her to do.
Yeah, it doesn't really challenge him and kind of... and isn't really bright enough to kind of...
I had not heard this.
That's the rumour I heard. I don't know if it's true.
Well, it makes her less of a supervillain and more of a henchman, but she's still a dick.
Yeah, either way, she's the worst.
She is, or well, no, Dominic Cummings, by the sounds of it, might actually be worse. But oh god,
James Acaster, the comedian James Acaster, has this really funny bit where he talks about like someone out there. You don't think about it. Somewhere out in the world has to be the worst.
Yeah,
like the worst. And he says, it's definitely a man, isn't it? And he's probably right. Almost certainly, definitely a man.
Almost certainly, definitely.
Priti Patel.
She'd be a high contender.
Whoever the worst is, she's running in close.
Yeah. Oh, she's fucking awful. But yeah, like at least the rest of them, well, maybe borderline Boris, but at least the rest of them are pretending to do. They're showing up. They're at least pretending to do their job. She's just, what is she doing? What is she doing? Fuck you, Priti Patel. What are you for?
A lot of money she's making it.
Yeah, I want to make 80 grand for not going to work. That sounds like a great job. I don't care if people hate me for it. Yeah, bring it on.
Let's swap.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'd be better as Home Secretary.
We'll take 40 grand each. We're not proud.
Job share, lovely. Right, we've got to go. We've run out of time.
We have.
And I've still got a lot of anger to work through, but I'm just going to have to talk about it all with him. So look forward to that, Chris. Bye, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.